The Flash is mainly known for its speedsters, the characters who possess the ability to run at super speed, among many other abilities, due to their connection to the Speed Force. Along with the super speed, every single speedster has a costume, or in the case of Barry Allen, like 7 of them, with some of these suits looking better than others. In this video, I will rank every speedster suit in the Arrowverse by how good they look. A couple costumes I won't include are Barry's prototype suit, because it's not much of a suit, the 2024 Crisis suit that Flash has in the newspaper, not including that because we haven't seen that aside from it vibrating or in that picture, can't really count it. Also the Blitzkrieg costume from Freedom Fighters of the Raid, because we haven't seen it in live action, so we can't really judge it in that way. With all of that out of the way, let's start the ranking.
Damn, Gina, I made that?
The first suit that Barry had in Season 5 was god-awful. The actual suit actually does look pretty cool. Like, whenever Barry is walking around with that as the mask and his cowl, the costume does look pretty good. The bright red color, the lack of leather or a zipper, it's actually a pretty great looking costume. The problem here is the aforementioned cowl, which is genuinely horrible. The lightning connects on the cowl, which looks really weird. The cowl doesn't fit Barry's head, and it looks very cheap as well. This is the only speedster costume, mostly because of the cowl, that is kind of difficult to look at. Every single costume after this ranges from boring to incredible, while this one is kind of difficult to look at, landing it at the bottom of the list.
I think you've done enough saving for today. I'll take it from here. How about we just end this right now?
That sounds fun. Because
Iris's brief stint as a speedster was not a very good episode, and Iris herself wasn't a very interesting speedster, partially due to her incredibly boring costume, which is basically a prototype XS costume, which is not really one of the best speedster costumes in the Arrowverse. So because of that, Iris West's costume when she was a speedster is pretty low. I don't think it's terrible, but I also think that it is very boring.
What are you? And where did you come from? I came from you, Pike!
The 90s Flash show is very outdated in basically everything, including this costume. The suit looks fine for the time, and it actually looks pretty great for the time, but compared to what we've seen since on the Flash, it just doesn't really hold up. The suit was kind of given an upgrade or an update for the Elseworlds crossover, which makes it look a lot better, and we'll see that later in the list.
That is all the help I need. How does it feel to know that I am faster than you will ever be?
Trajectory's suit is a pretty great suit for a one-off character, mostly because it wasn't really for a one-off character. They created it so that Jesse can use it in Season 3, I'm pretty sure, unless they created it and then they thought they should give it to Jesse, which I think is not really what happened. I think that this Trajectory suit is a pretty good suit for a one-off character, but not a great suit overall. I think that the lack of a lightning symbol that Jesse Quick would later incorporate makes it look kind of incomplete and a lot worse than it would later look. I like the design, but other than that, there's not really much to go on in this suit, which is why it's pretty low on the list.
Tractor down on Earth 2. Breach is taken care of.
Thank you.
Risky.
This suit is definitely very minimalistic and kind of boring, which is why it's lower on the list, but it definitely gets points for quite possibly being the most comic book accurate costume in the Arrowverse, and I wouldn't really expect them to do more than what they did here with a character who only has like 12 seconds of screen time in total. If he ever does return, then they can maybe get rid of the comic book accuracy of this costume and give him a better one. For now, it is definitely very accurate, but it's not very good, which is why it's a lot lower on the list than most costumes.
Nora's been hypnotized. She's trying to kill me. Nora, you gotta snap out of this.
What I have to do is kill you.
This suit is a lot more boring than I would have expected to see in a Speedster costume from the future. It's really just Iris' suit with XS's comic book lightning symbol condensed into a much smaller circle, which is what the Flash always has, and for here, they did the same thing. I don't love the suit, but I definitely don't think it's bad either. It's just a little bit more boring than I would have wanted for a costume from the future.
Remember, as long as you stay still, he can't sense you.
Black Flash actually has had two costumes. The first one, what we saw in the ending of Season 2's finale, which we briefly saw where he had the white symbol, and then what he had in Legends of Tomorrow, and also what we saw again in the Flash Season 3, where he had the black symbol. Now, the black symbol does make a lot more sense, as Zoom didn't have a white symbol, so that doesn't really make any sense, but the white symbol is what the comic book Black Flash has, and not only that, it makes the suit look a lot better in general. I think that the fact that it inexplicably changed from white to black, it's really weird that they did that, and I just think that it doesn't really look as good as a suit.
He's mine.
This suit is the exact same as the first one, but the cowl is immensely improved. The lightning bolts go down to the eyes instead of connected to each other, and the mask actually fits Barry's head, at least a lot better than the first one does. The cowl still does kind of look like very, very cheap, especially compared to what we saw in Season 1 through 4, and the lack of a chin strap, it still really, really sucks. I definitely like this costume, at least at times, but it's still not quite as good as the Flash's original costume and every one of his costumes between Season 1 and 4.
Well, he might. What have you got against my city?
The city's just fine. It's the people in it who need to be educated that I have no rival! Especially not you.
It's kind of weird that they made a costume like this for a character who only appeared in 2 episodes, but I'm not complaining. I think it's a really good looking costume. I mostly really like the huge lightning bolt on the costume, which is pretty unique. You don't really see that a lot in the Arrowverse Speedster costumes, which a lot of them have just the circle with the lightning bolt in them, which is what the Flash has. So this takes a different route, and I really like it. It's a very unique costume. I think it looks very good. So it's, although it doesn't really seem to be very high on the list, I really like most of the Speedster costumes in the Arrowverse, and this just happens to be maybe on the lower side, but I still really like it.
That's a new one.
Is that all you have?
You don't ever want to see all I have.
I really like the design for Fake Jay's suit in the Flash Season 2. It's very comic book accurate, aside from the lightning bolt not being filled in with yellow. Instead, it seems like it's just an outline of a lightning bolt, which I feel like if the yellow was filled in, this costume would have been a lot better and a lot higher on the list. Still, though, I really like it as the Earth 2 Flash's costume, or what would have been had the Zoom plot not have been incorporated into that, and had that not been false all along. If this was the actor playing him, if he was the actual Garrick, and this costume was his Earth 2 Flash costume, that I think would have worked really well. Instead, they went a different route, which actually ended up being a lot better.
Where friends are expecting us.
Yeah, they picked some real winners.
I know. Just more than I could say for you two.
Be right back.
The added lightning bolt symbol on the trajectory suit really enhanced the design and the color, and it also seems like it kind of fits the actress who plays Jesse Quick better, probably because they modeled it after her and not trajectory, because it was meant for Jesse Quick the entire time. It makes the suit look pretty great as Jesse's suit, even if it looks nothing like her suit from the comics. Like, it's incredibly comic book inaccurate. I think it's a huge improvement on the comics. Like, there are some costumes from the comics that don't really look very good, and they can use an improvement or maybe a complete redesign. And that's what they did with Jesse Quick, and I think it works.
And continue that sentiment. Take something from him for a change. Make it my own.
It suits you.
Even better than fake Jay's more comic book accurate Jay Garrick suit is the actual Jay Garrick from Earth 3, more original suit that he had in the end of Season 2, and then from there on out. The bright red and blue colors and the lightning bolt looks pretty great. I think it looks great when he's running in the CGI scenes that we saw over the course of the seasons that he was appeared in. I think it's a little bit better than fake Jay's suit, although it is it's less comic book accurate. I think that this is a suit that, again, they maybe not have improved on the comics, but I definitely think it's a great original suit that they created for the show. Again, it doesn't really make any sense that he would have a white symbol because Zoom's whole thing was black, so why would it change to white? Either way, though, I think it looks a lot better. It really makes the whole costume look a lot more interesting and also a lot more comic book accurate as well.
Wearing your ring. Things must be different here.
Barry, where's there?
My Earth. Earth 90. I've traveled from there to warn you.
Warn us about what?
The episodes that incorporated the Earth 90 Flash into the Arrowverse gave him a new, or at least upgraded suit. It's the same basic design as the Earth 90 suit, the 1990 suit that we saw in that show, but it's a lot better. The color, it's a little bit brighter. They use a different fabric, I'm pretty sure. Honestly, I don't really know what they did. Maybe it's just the fact that they're using better cameras now, and maybe it's the same costume. Honestly, I don't really know. I just think it looks a lot better than how it does in the 90s show, so maybe it's a different costume. If it is, then it's going to be a lot higher on the list, which is right here, as it definitely looks pretty cool.
I didn't want you to find out this way. Go.
The Flash's original... Barry Allen's original Flash suit somehow really still holds up. The cowl with the chin strap looks great, a lot better than the current suit that he has, which is insane, which is why it's higher than that suit. The red color looks pretty good, and while I don't love the symbol being red, I don't think that's a problem because it's his first suit and they changed that later, and I think as the first suit for the Flash, I think it really works. It returned in the Flash Season 5 Episode 1, and I was really reminded how good it looked, especially in this picture where for some reason it looks really cool.
Flash, just who I came to see.
So you like shadows? You want to try and catch mine?
This suit is really just the Season 1 suit with a new symbol, with the white symbol replacing the red one, which makes it a lot more comic book accurate and it makes it look a lot better. Again, the original suit is actually a really good looking suit, so the inclusion of this white symbol makes it look really, really cool, and it served as a pretty great suit for the Flash for Season 2 and 3. My only real problem with Zoom's suit is the detachment from the leg area and the torso area just looks pretty weird. That's not really much of a problem because the suit never really shows the leg area, so you really never notice it except for in pictures. So aside from that, I think the costume is awesome. The mask looks kind of scary. It's a very new, original design that they have. The black color is awesome as well. It really enhances the what they were going for with the character. It's not an accurate costume in the slightest, but I don't think that's a bad thing at all because they deviated quite a lot from the very similar to the Reverse Flash suit they had in the comics, making this version of Zoom look a lot more unique and really give him his own distinct design, which is pretty awesome.
Oh, you gotta slow down. And watch where you're going, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Cool skateboard, though.
Thanks.
For the entirety of Season 3, except for one episode where Kid Flash didn't really show up with the Flash, he had a better costume than the Flash basically the entire time. The yellow and red colors are very comic book accurate and they look very cool. They look great on the actor who plays him. I think in general this costume is the perfect Kid Flash costume, at least what in terms of the color scheme they were going for, which actually looked better than the main character of that season's costume, except for one episode, and the costume I'm talking about in that episode we'll get to later in this list.
We meet at last.
What do you want with the tachyonic particles?
My goals are beyond your understanding.
Well, I don't know. I'm a pretty smart guy.
This suit is the perfect Reverse Flash costume. The yellow and black clash perfectly, and the costume works so well as the opposite to the Flash's in Season 1, and basically every other season he's appeared, but especially in Season 4, when you look at those two costumes side by side, they look really great together, and this suit in general is a great looking suit. They do vibrate most of the time where he's on screen, which does enhance the effect of the character, but even without that, I think the suit looks really good.
He's got more V9.
Godspeed is a very new comic book character who pretty quickly rose to popularity, mostly due to the design of his costume, which the CW, in my opinion, adapted perfectly to the Flash. The white costume looks awesome, and the yellow aspect to it really clashes with the white very well, and I think they handled that part of it really well. I think the mask, which kind of looks like if Deadpool's mask was white, looks pretty great. I think it's a little of a bit of a deviation from the comics in terms of the mask area, with the eyes especially, but I still think it looks great. The entire costume comes together perfectly, making it one of the best Speedster costumes in the Arrowverse.
The Greek myth of Atlas, who could not put down the sky until someone took his place, while he has taken up my place in the Speed Force. You know me. I love a good myth.
Savitar's suit is very comic book inaccurate, which is, in my opinion, 100% a good thing. The new suit that they created is a much more and better looking and a more original design that they had for the show. The CGI, when it is in CGI, which is for the most of the season, and also any other scene where he's running, the CGI looks amazing for the most part. The blue color and the silver metallic look, it just looks so great for the suit. The practical suit that they had from, I think, episode 15 and on, doesn't look as good as the CGI suit, but I still think it looks pretty great, and it's pretty impressive for the suit for a show left for this season. I think it is the second best suit in the the second best Speedster suit in the Arrowverse, and there's only one that is better, and also actually from the same character, or at least kind of.
Once upon a time in some remote...
Very, very fittingly, the best Speedster costume in the Arrowverse is one of the Flash's. The Season 4 costume, which was actually originally the 2024 costume we saw in the Once a Future Flash in Season 3, which is why I said earlier that for one episode of Season 3, the Flash had a better suit than Kid Flash, but this suit is practically perfect. The cowl looks great, the costume color looks awesome, and the lightning bolts around the costume really complete the whole thing. It looks very similar to the New 52 suit, which is, in my opinion, the best Flash suit we've ever seen in the comics, so the fact that it looks so similar is definitely gives this costume a lot of points. The only problem with the suit is the zipper, but honestly, looking at the rest of the Speedster suits in the Arrowverse, it's kind of negligible, and it's a lot less noticeable than certain other costumes. Like for Zoom, for instance, I think that there the zipper is a lot more noticeable than here for the Flash Season 4's costume. I think it looks great in the running scenes, and whenever it's used for a CGI shot, it looks incredible, making it, in my opinion, the best Speedster costume in the Arrowverse, but also my favorite costume in the Arrowverse overall. So that is the end of this list. Let me know what your list is in the comments down below, and what other ranking videos or any other video on the Arrowverse should I do. Let me know in the comments as well. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe. Make sure to watch my tier list where I rank all of the Speedsters in the Arrowverse just by how good they are, and as always, thanks for watching.